It's that time again. It's the podcast that takes your personal and professional life to a whole new level. Whether you're selling a product, selling a service, or selling yourself, one thing is for sure. You're always selling for life. Welcome to another installment of the Selling for Life podcast, sponsored by Conequip Parts, world of parts with a personal touch. This podcast is about more than just selling stuff. We think if you stick around, you will get a lot out of it. And this is episode 40. Whoop, whoop. There it is. I'm Steve, joined by business starter, church starter, and fire starter, Al Alexander. Hi, Al.
Hi. Do you remember those starter jackets we wore back in the late 80s?
I never wore one.
I got mine stolen.
Oh, that's terrible.
West Side.
Jeez. Well, at least you didn't lose your life over a jacket.
That was happening. That's why my mom freaked out.
Wow.
She's like, "Where's your jacket? I just bought it. It was $65. What are you going to do?"
How did it happen? They just come right up to you and just yank it off your back or what?
I got pushed into the bushes.
Really?
Punched in the face.
Really?
Kicked. And then
over your jacket.
By 2 or 3 guys.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know if it was 2 or 3 because I have a bad memory.
Yeah. Well, after getting beat down like that, probably lost some of that memory.
Nah, just whatever.
That's surprising because you're a pretty big dude that you couldn't defend yourself.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, Steve.
Oh, okay.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I grew up for about 10 years in South Buffalo, which is a little bit, subdued. Mm-hmm. Then I went to the West Side around 10 or 11. Yikes. I got jumped into a, shocking kind of different environment where people fought for no reason and stole people's jackets for no reason.
And that's a memory that'll be with you forever, right?
It will.
I mean, these guys left a lasting impression on you. They could have done many things that day to you. They could have come up to you, give you a hug, a smile, maybe had a word of encouragement that would have stuck with you. But instead, they beat the crap out of you.
I know.
Maybe that had a good effect on you somehow, right? That probably you used that experience and you move forward with it in a positive way, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I had a good friend named Adrian I met just a few months after I lived there. After my first beating, right?
Okay. There was more than one?
Yes. The starter jacket was years after.
Okay.
But my first beating happened, and he noticed, and he's like, "Are you all right?" And he actually defended me against the 2 guys that they were brothers that beat me up that time when I was like 11. And I'm like, "Oh, you're like my savior." And he didn't even realize what he meant to me. He was, from that time on, kind of protected me.
How about that?
Yeah, it was cool.
He may not even known how much of an impact he had on your life.
Love that guy.
And that brings us to the topic of the day. And the topic of the day is making a difference.
Whoop, whoop.
Making a difference. I hate when you do that.
You could totally edit that out.
I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, for good or bad, everyone can and will make a difference in the lives of others. Of course, we want to have a positive impact on the people around us. Things we do and say, big or small, affect lives. Most of us probably don't think we make a difference, but we do. And joining us to talk more about making a difference in the lives of others, we are joined by Mr. Jon Petz. Mr. Petz is the founder of Bore No More, an idea lab for increasing personal and employee engagement. He is also an author of several books, including the top-selling title, Boring Meetings Suck.
And Jon has appeared on NBC, CBS, Fox, Food Network, and has opened for groups from American Idol to Rascal Flatts.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I know. And the list goes on, trust me. And now his career is truly complete because he is on the Selling for Life podcast.
That's right. So welcome
It is the day. I'm excited.
So welcome to the show, Jon. First, I got to ask you the most important question. How about them Blue Jackets?
Oh my gosh! Did you? Everybody's on the bandwagon. It's sensational that they're actually going in the second round of the playoffs and they're up 2-1. So
I saw that last night.
The town was hopping last night.
I saw the game on TV. That arena was about to explode. So very cool.
I wish I was there.
Yes. So also in your resume, you are also a comedy magician. Tell us a little bit about that and how you got started.
Absolutely. That's some of the elements that really got me where I am today. I mean, like many kids, I think I started doing magic when I was about 7 years old. You get a magic kit and you dibble and dabble it in a little bit. I just kind of never gave it up to the regrets of my parents.
Okay.
I kind of stuck with it. And, it worked out. But, I had a real job as I call a real job for 11 years, sales and marketing professional, tech entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And that came to play quite a bit, in terms of how to connect with people, how to talk to people, how to sell to people. Right. And I ended up leaving one job and touring professionally as a magician for several years. And it took me around the world. Cool. I jumped back into the working world, and that kind of ended up where I'm headed with my new direction now. But
Super.
It's always played a role in pretty much everything I do.
Yeah, that's great. I used to have a guy in college. He waited tables, and he was a magician, and he just killed it with tips because he would do magic tricks at the table. Okay, well, we're going to get back to that unique talent of yours in a moment. Today, we're talking about making a difference in the lives of others. So, a bit of a leading question here, Jon. Does one need to be featured on a major network, speak to $1 million companies, and open up for a music country star to be able to make a difference in the lives of others?
Well, the answer is, of course, not at all. I think the simple moments are the most significant, and we all realize that we have those opportunities in front of us literally every single day.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what we do.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like even your history and how you come into the world of business and marketing and sales, it looks like you kind of use a lot of what you learned on entertaining and, just really getting to the heart of connecting with people throughout all your career. So that's great.
Well, and your listeners, you're right, and it's mind share really for what most of us may do, or most of us listening. Magic, that element, it's surprise and delight. It's unexpected value in an unexpected place, so people remember that moment. And I've used that to my advantage, and other people can do the same thing, whether it doesn't have to be a magic trick, but what can we do to bring a little surprise and delight to someone as part of our sales cycle to really make yourself stand out? And when they're thinking of whatever industry or product or service that is, how can you be at the top of the mind and they want to talk to you again? That's just one little tool that I absolutely have used throughout.
Yep. And we often think about making a difference in the lives of others around us, like strangers. But for goodness sake, we got people right next to us that love us, that sometimes we need to try to make a difference in the lives of them. Husband, your husband, wife, kids, etc.
Yeah, very true.
And what would you say to someone who doesn't necessarily feel as if they're the type of person who can make a difference?
I see them falling for what I call the justas. The people, that's the cousin to the word only. The folks that say, but they belittle the impact in what they do. I'm just a new person. What I do doesn't make a difference, but I'm only the guy that does the back-end service. I don't really interact with the customer. I don't really make a difference. And obviously we know that's so far from the truth. I think what some people need to realize is take what they do deeper. For example, this is a sales audience, selling for life. And if you take deeper even what this podcast does, what are we selling? What are we projecting here? We're selling and providing content, in a sense, to people who want to be better salespeople, better professionals, better people all the way around. Mm-hmm. And what's the benefits of the people listening? Sometimes we have to keep going deeper to understand the purpose behind what we do. As folks listening to this, they're becoming better sales, service, human beings. As a result of that, we treat other people better. Mm-hmm. We have better, deeper relationships. We're going to engage better. We're going to connect better. As a result of that, maybe our income comes up. Maybe we have a happy, better, balanced life. And then even take an effect of whatever we're providing to our customers. How does it help those customers benefit? As a result of them benefit from your service, how do their customers live a better life? And sometimes we only see on the surface level, I'm just making phone calls, and we don't really ever realize the difference all the way down the road that it makes. And I think some people want to be significant in their industry and what they do, and few of us realize that, we already are. Mm-hmm. We just have to realize some of those moments that we're projecting.
Right. Al says that often about our company, where the women or the girls right now on the phones that answer the customers coming in, they're not just answering the phone. They're the first person that our customers speak to. And so they have a very important, powerful position, and they may not even know that. Right, Al?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, everyone has a say in the company. You know, their voice is heard. It's kind of a genuine way to live and do business. I started out in sales 20-something years ago, and there was a kind of an adage, I don't know where it came from, called fake it till you make it. I don't know if you ever heard that, John. But that was kind of how I tried to live for a little bit, and it didn't work. And so then I got this other, kind of idea of like, and again, I don't know necessarily where it came from, but that I needed to be more tried and true, more genuine. It had to kind of be a real thing that I did because it would come across, in every area of my life. And I think that's what you're talking to, is just kind of a genuine care for how you're affecting people around you.
Yeah. I
like to refer the word as authenticity.
Oh,
when you say genuine, your genuine self. What is your true, authentic self? And I've often made fun of the fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
But that authentic, and you think, I hate when people call them soft skills. And what we do, soft skills are gold. Soft skills are rock hard bottom line movement of revenue. But that authentic skill is extremely important in today's world when we seem to connect a whole lot less in that manner.
I agree.
I want to finish now by going back to your comedy and magician talents, and the main reason why I brought you on, John, is you have a powerful story that I believe really shows how a simple action can have a deep and meaningful impact on the lives of others, especially when you don't even really realize it yourself. So please, John, and thank you very much for doing this. Tell us the seven, close heaven, kind of a slip up there, but it works. The 7 of Hearts story. Please tell us about that.
I will be delighted to. It's a powerful story, and I ask anyone's there, grab your cup of coffee, hold it in your hand, have a sip, and listen to what it meant. This was just a life experience that I had, and I used the terminology just a few moments ago when I talked about the word just. And to somewhat abbreviate the story, as a magician, I was called by a charity, and they give me the phone call, and they're asking, would you be willing to come to the hospital to perform for a boy? His 9-year-old boy, his name was Nathan. They're explaining he's in the hospital, and I get this call, and you're sitting there, and I'm like, it's kind of outside of my comfort zone. I could do the show, but you're kind of not making an excuse, but it's just uneasy in that. And then it all of a sudden just gets exponentially more difficult because they tell me, this boy, he really wants to meet David Copperfield, the most famous magician in the world right now. The headlines in Vegas, you know the deal. The most famous magician seen by more people than anyone else in the world.
And you look just like him.
And then they said, I look just like him. And I was like, they're telling me that's who he wants to meet. And we don't think it's going to happen. So, John, we've called you instead. And I'm like, what? And that's when all of those emotions and doubt and anxiety feelings enter your body. And that's what I physically verbalized. But I'm just Jon Petz. What could I possibly do that David Copperfield's going to? I'm just a no name. I'm a non-celebrity, and how can I possibly help this kid out? Mm-hmm. We talked for another minute or two, and I know as everybody on listening would have done at the same time, as uncomfortable as it was, the answer, of course, was yes. I'd be happy to help you out. And they jumped right on top and said, perfect. Do you think you could be here today? I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Wasn't ready for that response. And I work home office now, like maybe many people do. And 20 minutes later or 30 minutes later, I jumped in the car and just, pack of cards, and I drove downtown to the Children's Hospital. And I was shown up to the oncology ward. And it was that moment where, your butterflies in your stomach and you're uneasy with what's going on and just your surroundings. I'm not good in that environment. But it was right before I walked in the door, I see the people I was about to meet. And it wasn't Nathan, but it was like his family. So it was the mother, the father, his sister. And then there was a priest in the room. And I honestly went from kind of nervous to, it's like the realization of thinking what I was going. And I was scared, just almost shaking, just uncomfortable and scared. But I go in and I meet the family and didn't see Nathan at first. And Mom stands up, turns around, and then I see Nathan. And I walked right by him. The machines were around the bed and the curtains. And I remember he had just kind of little squinty eyes and laying down the bed. And he had no idea who I was, I imagine. But the mom walks over and says, Nathan, this is John. and John's a magician. You know, and he sits up in his bed. His eyes go absolutely wide open. Like you could just see that gleaming, excitement all of a sudden. And he reaches out his hand to shake my hand. That's when I hear that sound that maybe people recognize, which was like the, this is a machine that's breathing for him, so he couldn't talk to me. And it was an uncomfortable and difficult situation. And I brought a deck of cards, these little sponge ball things, and I said, Nathan, hold out your hand. And I did this basic trick where I put one ball in my hand, I put one ball in his hand, I do a little magic. Mine disappears. I told him to open up his, he's holding both of them. And his eyes are wide open, the machine's going, and he had that look like, do it again. We do the trick again, and there's a little sponge ball, and they multiply and they grow and they jump back and forth. And I did one other trick. It's a card trick for the priest, and the short end of that story is I need to borrow a credit card, so I literally borrowed the priest's credit card. And we're having fun with it, and what happens at the end of the trick is on the back of his credit card ends up a big sticker, and it's a picture of me holding a playing card that had just vanished. And we do this, and the family, they're laughing, right, and they're giggling, and the doctor comes in like, what's going on? And they're like, they show him the card, and it was just a unique and different scenario from when I came in. And I only did one other trick, and it's a fairly, what I would call standard magician's trick. It was pick a card, any card. I have Nathan pick a card, so I wanted him to have that experience. And he pulls out a card, and I told him to sign it. So if we ever see his card again, it's absolutely that card. And he pulled out the 7 of Hearts, hence the 7 Hearts story. He writes Nathan on it. And the trick in its simplicity form is you shuffle it up, you look at the top card, it's a random card. But I told Nathan, I said, do a little magic wand move and tap the cards 2 times, and he taps them. And then I asked him to turn over the card. And the top card changed to the 7 of Hearts with his name on it.
Great.
And they're looking at this. This is when the priest literally looks over. He's like, wait a second, do that again. And, you'd be standing there, and that's what you'd think. And you'd shuffle the cards, and and I'd let you turn over a card, and it's a random card. But if anytime Nathan turns over the card, it's always his 7 Heart with his name on it. And the end of it is we throw the pack at the ceiling, and all the cards go tumbling everywhere, except one card sticks to the ceiling above his bed. And of course, it's the 7 Hearts with his name on it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's where I left, because they were giggling and laughing, and it's like I didn't want to interrupt the family moment. The unique part of the story and the ending of the story is I don't know that family's name. I don't know whatever happened to them. And only 5 months after that, I'm at a service, and there's the priest that I just that was there 5 months ago. So I went up, and I just was trying to, I was explaining myself to him, like I was the guy that did the magic, and I wanted to ask the question, and he didn't say anything, but he pulled out his wallet, and the priest pulls out his credit card and flips it over, and it's this big picture of me on the back of his credit card.
He kept it on there. That's great.
That's awesome.
I was like, and you're like, what?
That's awesome.
And he's like, I know exactly who you are. You don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
And he told me, he shares the 7 Heart stories, and he shares it like he shared it in a wedding, and he shared it in a funeral. He told me he shared it with a family in the hospital who was about to lose a family member. And he shared it that we all have a unique gift. And are we willing to do what it takes to share that gift with other people?
Yeah.
And then he shared a little bit of the harder part, which was he shared with me that Nathan passed. And Nathan passed. It was like 8 hours, I believe, after I left. And he told me that the family, they took the 7 Hearts from the ceiling, and they put that in Nathan's casket.
Wow. What an impact.
And I freeze on that word, because it is. I was staring at this guy. I couldn't comprehend it for a moment, because in the mind it was still, but it was just a card trick. It was just a 7. I'm not Copperfield. I'm a nobody. What difference could I possibly have made?
Yeah.
And the outcome is we all fall for that sometimes.
Yeah.
But we got to ask ourselves, what's that purpose behind the passion? What's the 7 Heart? What's that gift? And are we willing to be our authentic self and share that gift with other people?
Yes. Yeah, thanks so much.
So now you two have to bring us back up and make it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that story. And I can tell that even now,
that's a long story.
You've probably told that story a number of times, but it seems to always get you right there at the end. Of a couple times I've seen it, seen you tell the story, and so I really appreciate that. I think it's like I said, it's a powerful story. Like you said, it's something that everybody needs to hear and to understand that. Just a simple thing. You went there just thinking you're going to do a card trick, and look at this. You've come away, and two guys here in Buffalo have come across the story, and it's impacted us. It's going to impact people that hear it, and it all started with a phone call and a guy that said, "What? I can't. I'm not David Copperfield." So
that's great. I love the influence.
Right. Know. And when it comes to that experience that you had, I find it interesting that it was the Seven of Hearts that was chosen out of the deck because. The Bible indicates that the number 7 is the number of perfection, and of course the heart symbolizes love. So basically, that's perfect love right there.
I like your math, Steve. That's good math.
Hey, thank you.
It's like algebra. and to share with you, John, Steve is like 6'7", 380 pounds. He was crying.
I did. Well, I did cry a little bit earlier today when I was preparing for this, but it's just a super story. And awesome. Real quick, have you? Is there a Seven of Hearts mission that you have, a website or something?
Yeah, I mean, they can go to sevenofhearts.com, the number 7ofhearts.com.
Okay.
I mean, what came of that for me, as, in the professional speaking where, we all have the books and the publisher wanted to do a book. I just didn't think that was the right idea. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think someone should make money from the story.
Sure.
Although I ended up doing it in our world, it's called self-publishing. I mean, I had an editor put it together. We did the story, and it's about identify, appreciate, and deliver simple moments in life. Mm-hmm. But we donate 100% of the money from it. It's been a neat opportunity. And we do shows for kids in a life-threatened condition. Mm-hmm. And we call it Miracles and Magic. That's what awesome. The money has gone towards. So
all right.
It's kind of my passion project, honestly.
Fantastic.
And I pass out 7 of Heart cards when I travel. I give them to people that make a difference in my life and tell them to go to the site. They can track them where they go around the world and pay it forward. And
that's cool.
Pick up some 7 of Heart cards. I'll send you some. You can, because I have no idea where Nathan's family is. I really don't. But somehow, somewhere, someone's going to give a card to his family, and they're going to know that their child is still making a difference.
No doubt. Okay, and what are some of your upcoming projects?
That's my end game.
What type of projects do you have coming up? And where can our listeners find you?
That would be exciting.
Yeah, you know what? The summer's coming up.
National Spelling Bee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, National Spelling Bee I host. You can catch me. I'll be on ESPN on the finals.
All right,
coming
that's
up
awesome.
again.
I've totally watched that.
Times I've been there.
Cool.
They have, I always say, it sounds a little bit better than you make it. I was a little marketing. ESPN has their own announcer, but I still get a little background stuff, and you'll see me doing different stuff on stage but they're pretty particular about who they put on their cameras. But I get a little spot here and there. But that's a great summer project.
I don't like watching the Spelling Bee. I just come away feeling very stupid.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. They're amazing.
They are amazing.
Absolutely incredible, those kids.
Wow.
And where can our listeners find you? You said podcast?
Probably the best place. I mean, YouTube. I got a lot out there on YouTube. Just Google Jon Petz. I'm an easy Google, thankfully. JonPetz. Okay. And a website at jonpetz.com.
Awesome.
If they want to pick up, that 7 Heart books, you can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
Full disclosure, Amazon makes money, but the rest of the money that comes back does get donated.
Right.
Boring Meetings Suck. That was the book you mentioned. That's certainly out at any, Barnes and Noble. Or
all right.
Some bookstores still have it, but it's certainly available online.
I love the name of that book. You could tell that somebody wouldn't really be able to tell you about how to have a fun meeting if they had a boring title for a book. So good job on that.
This will be perfect for your listeners. It was, people asked me, are you a PhD in organizational development?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I was a pissed off salesperson who wanted my time stop being wasted.
Oh, my goodness.
True story, yeah.
We got a few of you around here, too, I think.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, well, super, John. Thank you very much for joining us. Truly an honor to have you on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
Hey, thanks for being a part of Selling for Life. Appreciate Albert and Steve.
All right, and go Blue Jackets.
Woohoo.
Go CBJ. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.
So that was a great interview with John Al. Some thoughts that you came away from hearing the story about the 7 of Hearts.
Well, I just love the idea that something, as he said it, was so just regular, I just grabbed some cards and a couple squishy balls. Like, what is he going to matter in this kid's life? Right. You just don't know how much impact you might have.
Yeah.
And that's the key. Like, that's what this whole story kind of brought me to is just go through and do the right things. And, you never know what kind of impact you're going to have.
Yeah.
A genuine, authentic life.
Well, why don't you give your final thought based on that?
Thanks to all my homies who fought for me and protected me when I was young. You don't even know what you meant to me. Being a lover, not a fighter. But hey, when you are out there, love the people around you. In action, what you say, just be an encouragement, or realize that sometimes you got to stand up for others, or just be there to laugh with them and make them laugh sometimes, or hug them when they're down. And that makes all the difference in the world.
Even your customers. You talk to a lot of people in the sales profession. Those are the same people that you need to possibly have an impact on.
I agree.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of installment 40 of the Selling for Life podcast. We're getting there, Al. 40. We're getting there. So if you want to check out our website, it's sellingforlife.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. And, just come right alongside of us. The heck, man.
I need a hug, too.
That's right. All right, so remember, whether you're selling tuna-flavored peanut brittle or you're trying to convince yourself you really can make the difference in someone's life, one thing is for sure, you're always selling for life.